It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right. Hello again, everybody. Patrick Johnson here with you. Thanks for being with us on the Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app. We're streaming live at 943thegame.com, our video platforms and all of that. Great to have you along with us today. Jim Szoke coming up in a little bit. And we're going to talk about the playoffs, but also all the comings and goings in the NFL. With Jim, a lot of news today with Bill Belichick. It has been reported officially parting ways with the New England Patriots. No surprise there. No surprise there. I think now the big question is who will emerge as the next coach in New England. That'll be the big question. All right, we've also got Demetri Ravanos. Speaking of retirements, while we were on the air yesterday, it broke that Nick Saban has decided to retire as the head coach of Alabama. They're saying in Alabama they'll have a new coach within a 72-hour window. That's what their AD is saying. So we'll see if that does occur. But we will talk to Demetri Ravanos, who is an Alabama alum, but also has covered the program and saying all along that Nick Saban was going to retire. So Demetri coming up at the bottom of the hour. Let's get right into today's Pirate Report.
And now, Patrick Johnson with today's Pirate Report on the flagship station of the ECU Pirates, 94.3 The Game.
All right, East Carolina with a huge win last night in Philadelphia against Temple, a game in which they got no breaks with the officiating. They made a couple more threes than Temple. Temple was the top three-point team in the AAC and makes a heavy volume three-point shooting team. Pirates, I thought, did a good job guarding them on the perimeter. And ECU got 20 from R.J. Felton, 18 from Ezra Azar, and then near double-double from Brandon Johnson of 15 points and 9 rebounds. Backcourt, I thought, played well, 9 for Cam Hayes last night. So the Pirates with a big victory despite going out to Philadelphia a night early because of the inclement weather Tuesday, and they did not let that disrupt their focus. Good to get there a couple days and be locked in. So ECU will return home to take on SMU, a team that is coming off a 3-point loss to Memphis last Sunday. SMU has not played until they play the Pirates on Saturday. That's a 4 o'clock tip time from Williams Arena Minges Coliseum. We'll have the game for you here on 94.3 The Game and 107.9 WNCT at 3:30 with the airtime coverage in the 4:02 tip. Darren Vaught, Coach Michael Perry. I'll be on the air with Cy Seymour on the
ESPN Plus.
No, I'm looking at that because I'm just getting a bunch of texts that we're off the air. Just lost you off air. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I was getting a bunch of texts. That's what I was looking at, and then I've just got a couple more that's come in. So we'll continue on because I assume we're streaming, and I'll assume we're doing all that with our video platforms and all of that still. So if you're with us there, hang in. But as far as radio, we'll check and make sure we're on the air and broadcasting on our biggest platform, which is over the airwaves on 94.3. So check that out, Pilk, and let me know what you find out. Are you able to play the cuts as we go along and do that simultaneously, or should we go ahead and get a break maybe?
Let's play cuts because everything looks good
Okay.
on my end, so it sounds like it's something I got to text the high-ups about.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's start with Coach Swartz, who thought his team was very efficient against Temple and Philly last night.
And I feel like when you play defense, I really feel like your defense can help your offense, whether it's off of stops and turnovers and running, or just being able to string stops together and then get down, and whether we're in transition. What I thought we really did well on offense tonight, and Coach was talking about it before, is I thought we executed very well. I thought we executed our sets. I thought the guys were very precise with doing it. I thought we turned the ball over 10 times, and I thought, I think we could have been less than that even. Yeah. I really do. I think some of our turnovers were careless turnovers. We could have been in single digits. But all that being said, and obviously shooting the basketball well. Now Cam Hayes starts making some threes, and, RJ and Brandon, and it does a lot for your team when you start. And I thought Ezra was really efficient as a basketball player tonight, always passing, driving, free throws. I thought he did a great job.
All right, more from Coach Schwartz. Talked about it was huge to get a first-ever win at Temple.
Huge. We just talked about this in the locker room, and it's kind of like levels. Program-wise, first time ever to win in Philadelphia at Temple in the history of ECU basketball. Or at least that's what the Temple guys said to me. If that's accurate
0-7 prior to the night.
Okay, that's what they said on the broadcast when they after the game. So that's number one. Number two, you're talking about a conference win, period. Now a conference road win. Right. So I think you look at all those levels, they're all so important. But I think as much as anything, the preparation and the mindset of this team tonight on a little bit of an adversity thrown trip in terms of 48 hours, I thought was really strong. I thought that was good. And so to win, whether this game was here or this game was in Greenville or this game was somewhere else, I thought the approach of the team and the concentration of the team was really strong, and I think we can build on it.
All right, more from Mike Schwartz, who talked about the next step for Ezra Azar is to limit turnovers.
He's fouled 6 times.
Yep.
Okay, and he has 4 turnovers, and he is very well capable of playing a game with 1 turnover. And he can do it, and he will do it. Right. And that is potentially 3 more possessions of him either at the rim or getting fouled again. And that is huge. I mean, just if you think about 3 possessions on a total and you took 8 field goal attempts, I mean, that's almost 50% more possessions. If he's up to 11 now, or he's even got, instead of 6 free throws, he goes 6 for 6, he gets 10 free throws, huge difference. I mean, though, that's where it's such a fine line always in sports, but in conference play, it's even exacerbated.
All right, we are back on radio. Thank you all for the text messages. About a dozen of them started rolling in, so we appreciate that. Back on radio now. We're in the midst of our Pirate Report, and this is Mike Schwartz talking about the importance of rebounding when facing a team that shoots it from deep like Temple does.
We knew it was going to be really difficult to block this team out. Anytime a team is going to shoot this many threes, and we knew it was coming, those long rebounds are much harder than just, hey, block out. Like, right. There's a lot more to it. Right. There's a nose for the ball. There's reading it off the rim or the backboard, whatever it may be. And I thought our guys did a good job of that, because them rebounds aren't going to happen in the charge circle off of threes. Yeah. So the balls are going to be long shots, long rebounds. And so those are very hard because they bounce out, and they got a couple, and they had 10 offensive rebounds. I want to say we only had 2, which is not – I'm not real pleased with that. But if you shoot 54%, you're going to have less offensive rebounds. And tonight was a night, quite frankly, the defensive glass where we needed our rebounding numbers. We needed them high on the defensive side. And Brandon gets 8, Ezra gets 6, RJ gets 5, Cam Hayes gets 4. We needed defensive rebounds, or he gets 3 defensive rebounds, 4 total. We needed defensive rebounds tonight.
All right, and Coach Schwartz says coaches believe defense leads to offense, players the exact opposite.
Coaches believe defense creates offense. Yep. Players believe offense creates defense. So
absolutely.
Balls going in, they get to another level on defense. Coaches see the defense playing well. We say, well, it's the offense. Yeah. That's going to benefit from the defense. But that's, like Mike said, that's in all sports.
All right, Ezra Azar with 18 points. Nice performance for him against Temple and Philly. He says he was excited that the team got the win.
Feel good, got my confidence back, feeling good. We made history, I heard, making the first road win, so I'm excited for me and the team.
First one here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm excited for me and the team.
All right, so Ezra says this is how the team can build off their first road win.
Road wins is always the toughest. You know, I think to me that's a common fact for, you know, everybody in our opinion. You know, these type of games is how you respond to adversity instead of reacting. So I think, you know, this type of road win prepares us for other road wins. You know, of course, when home game, the confidence because we home, but we always got to prepare ourselves the correct way when it comes to home games and just concentrate and stay focused.
And Ezra Azar talks about the guidance of Coach Swartz and the staff.
To me, you know, just practice, that comes with just staying disciplined and trusting the coaching staff. And, you know, honestly, he gave us the freedom, so we trust him. And we're just going to keep being disciplined and listening to him because, I mean, ain't no better guidance than than the coach just giving you guidance. So.
All right, that is today's Pirate Report as ECU gets the win over Temple in Philly. We will, and they're now 2-1 in the league. They're going for their third straight conference win, and it's never happened in the American. The last time it happened was when they were members of Conference USA a decade ago. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we will have Jim Szoke. We'll talk NFL playoffs. We'll also talk about the Belichick announcement from earlier today. No longer is the six-time Super Bowl winning head coach coaching the New England Patriots. So Szoke on that, Demetri Ravanos on the retirement of Nick Saban. All of that still to come on the Thursday edition of the Patrick Johnson Show.
Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hey, grab me one too.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
It's Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. We're wrapping up the year with our biggest savings. Shop new Camrys and RAV4s, $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified today. Wrap up a great deal with payments from $289 at Greenville Toyota.
Sometimes you just don't know if you want to kiss him or slap him.
Ow!
Either way, he'd probably like it. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, thanking a bunch of people. We had a lot of people text us, tell us we weren't on the air, or text me. So thank you all for that. But we're back now, and we are back on all of our platforms and stayed with all of those, in fact. All right, Jim Szoke with us here. Panthers Radio Network. The season came to a difficult 9-0 end, I should say, for the Panthers. And the Szoke man joins us here. Jim, how are you?
I'm good. Are you sure we're on the air?
I'm guessing we are. Pilk, are we good?
Dan Miller says we are, so I trust him.
Dangerous Dan Miller. Well, I got the dozens of people who text me that we were off, text me, most of them did, back and said, "You're on now, you're on." And I said, just in time for Szoke.
The question was, were they enjoying the show more or less when it was off the air?
I think they probably were enjoying it more. I think they probably would have enjoyed it when it was off.
Just the solitude of it all.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Scott Fitterer out. I guess no surprise. And what will come first? Will this be done the correct way where you get the GM and then the coach? Or is the coach going to be hired and be into an arranged marriage with the GM? How do you foresee this shaking out, Szoke?
Thank you for saying it that way, because that's what I've been saying. It's like, to me, I think you should hire the GM first and have him have a large say. I know they're going to do some kind of, where everyone has a say in it. But I think you should have the GM be part of that because it's an important hire, and that should be the hierarchy of how it goes. But I don't know. It's a great question. They've been, they put out that list of people they asked to talk to. Doesn't mean they'll talk to all of them, but they've asked to speak with, like 9 different coaching candidates, 8 different GM candidates, whatever the case is. So, anyways, they're kind of doing a little bit of both. But yeah, I would like to see that's the old school way that I am about it, is that you have the GM when you're doing both. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have a GM already, or you got a coach already, just changing one or the other up. But when you're starting from scratch, I agree with you. I would start with that. I would say beyond that, the personnel, the players are the problem more than the coaching. Because, let's be honest, Frank Reich had successes before he came here. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but he went to the playoffs a couple times, and was well thought of in this league as a coach. They didn't have much of a change once they made the firing. And you mentioned with the last couple games having the change of play calling made no difference. Made no difference with the offense.
What would you say? We talk about what would you look for in a head coach? What would you look for at this point in 2024 as a GM? What are you looking for at a GM?
The thing about being a GM is, I think one of the underrated things talked about maybe outside of people in personnel is fit. I mean, they always do these. Here's a list of players, and here's the combine, and this guy ran this 40, and this guy lifted this much, and this guy's stats are that. What fits what you do? If you're a 3-4 defense or you're a 4-3 defense, what kind of you're a downhill running team or you're a vertical passing team? So I think you have to fit players to what you do. And a great example of that is I know Philip follows the Panthers pretty closely. Someone like Jeremy Chin 2 years ago was an exceptional player and just seemed like this young rising star. And he was completely a non-factor personnel-wise with what was going on right now with this team. Now, this defense did a lot of good things last year in terms of yardage and things like that, but not a lot of takeaways. Jeremy Chin was a young, rising, talented player, second-round pick, and now doesn't even seem to have a role in this current defense. So I think fit matters as much as anything when it comes to picking personnel. And, not just obviously they're always trying to pick good players, but good players that fit what the coach and what the scheme is.
We're talking with Jim Szoke, Panthers Radio Network. We were going to bring him on this week to talk about the playoffs, but it's more hot stove that's going on in the NFL offseason. Announced earlier today what we all expected, Bill Belichick not going to be back in New England. So no surprise there. Maybe surprised it took this long for it to kind of go down. What is the Belichick legacy? Because it is, with all its successes, a little star-crossed in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument, and again, I think we all know how much of an impact Tom Brady had on those championships, so you can make the argument as far as his record goes and his accomplishments. But, we may have seen the best ever NFL coach and the best ever college coach, both on the move in the last 12 hours of what's going on with Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. And, of course, many people know, oddly enough, we're on the same coaching staff in Cleveland at one point when you had Nick as Bill's defensive coordinator with the Browns. But, Belichick was in 9 Super Bowls, won 6, and he's second on the all-time wins list, only behind Don Shula. So, I mean, that matters. And I don't get the impression he's done. I think, immediately, teams are already jumping into the news, like Washington, the Chargers, some other teams, maybe the Falcons, will be interested at least in interviewing him. I don't know if there'll be an interview here or not, but I think he'll probably land elsewhere. But I think obviously you got to respect the record, and what he's done has been amazing over a long time with New England.
I was talking to somebody today. What do you think of Vegas? He's got a fascination with Garoppolo, more than the ladies in some ways.
Well, Jimmy G doesn't do that great on the field. He seems to do okay with some of the ladies.
Yes,
but I
he
think
does.
I don't know about that whole situation. It's just, I don't know, it's so up in the air. That's a little bit, it's an interesting kind of a wild card possibility, but I know from, even before he was let go, Washington's been the thing that's been talked about the most. Doesn't mean that'll happen or that they'll reach an accord or whatever, but that's been the one that's kind of been the forefront. So to me, probably Commanders first. I think the Chargers job's going to be interesting to a lot of folks like Ben Johnson and him and whoever, because you inherit Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler and all the great talent they have. Yeah. You got SoFi Stadium in L.A., so it's an exciting place to be playing, like Las Vegas is obviously as well. But I think those are probably more likely opportunities. I've not really heard him connected with anything with Vegas.
Why would Atlanta be something that would make sense?
I mean, look at their roster. That's a team that's got talent, and they just have not, figured out quarterback. Yeah. And I was surprised this past year when they just kind of rolled with what they had. I just was Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. I just thought they would have a better option, and I think a lot of folks were surprised as good as Bijan Robinson turned out to be. In terms of prioritizing, that's the route they went was running back. So, I mean, he's a great player, no doubt about it. But in some other way, then they needed to resolve quarterback. And I'm just surprised that's what they went with last year, because it was another year of wasting, Kyle Pitts, wasting, Drake London, a lot of the good offensive weapons they have. They need a quarterback, and they need a coach that'll utilize them the right way.
There also was the jettisoning from the sideline to the front office for Pete Carroll. This seems like it was a bit of a forced hand move. Do you foresee Pete Carroll coaching again at any point, or is he just going to be happy to ride off into the sunset into the front office?
Well, he was talking on Monday that he was going to be coaching the Seattle Seahawks. So it's clearly clearly sounded like it was forced. And I felt like that was just kind of like, we don't want to fire him. We're just going to give him a job with a desk upstairs. And we would never fire Pete Carroll.
It'd be like Milton in Office Space. He's going to be looking for a stapler.
Exactly.
And
That's
moving
right.
around
I didn't get any cake. I kept passing the cake. I didn't get any cake. And so Pete's, he's been very successful out there. He just went 9-8 this year. I mean, if he was in the NFC South, gosh, he would have won a championship. So it's just bad luck to be in the division he's in. But he's had a great run there. 14 years. Nobody's won more games in Seattle. Won a Super Bowl out there. Got to another one. So I mean, he's done very well. He's 72. I think I can't remember who tweeted this yesterday. I guess they said Pete Carroll at age 72 has his entire political career in front of him because now people first they don't even start till they're 72.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But I do think he would want to coach again. I don't. Again, when you take him on, you're probably getting someone for not the longest tenure. So it has to be the right situation, or would that even be a college situation like Herm Edwards did a couple of years ago? So possible. I think he wants to coach again, and I don't know if it'll happen for him or not at this point, though.
How about Pete Carroll in Carolina?
I don't think so. I think they would want something. I think, with Bryce Young, I think they're thinking, something long-term. I just don't know that would be the right fit for here. I think Pete Carroll is more like, to me, I would think is like that Phil Jackson kind of thing, like bringing the guy that can work with veteran guys and a team that's ready, close to go with veteran players and established teams. So I don't feel like that would. I mean, we're an expansion team, let's face it. So I don't think he would be like the expansion team guy that you'd want to bring. Someone that's going to be here for a long haul, you would hope.
Yeah. All right, Jim Szoke with us here. Quickly, I just want to get to a few of these playoff games. Give us a winner. If feel like it, why? But if not, if you do give us a why, make it brief. Browns and Texans on Saturday at 4:30. You're a Browns fan, so yeah.
Yeah, and I know you got other things to do. We can't be messing around with this all day. So yeah, I think I got to go with the Browns, of course. So they're playing the Texas team, which is very good, and C.J. Stroud has just been outstanding for them. And of course, they're so dinged up; they've lost so many players for injuries on both sides of these teams. I think I even saw today Denzel Ward got injured in practice for the Browns today. So we'll see if he plays or not. But both Houston and Cleveland, limping in as far as their rosters at this point of the season, but. I will, Joe Flacco with that savvy experience, getting Amari Cooper back and healthy for this one. I will briefly say the Browns at this point, even though it's a road game, I'll take them to win.
All right, on the Peacock, Dolphins and Chiefs Saturday night.
And I had to check; I wasn't sure. We don't have Peacock at our house, so I won't be watching that. In fact, I couldn't anyway. We're going to see Nate Bargatze on Saturday night in Charlotte.
Oh, are you really? That. Good for you.
Yeah,
He's
I've only seen him on. I've only seen him on Netflix and that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward to seeing him live. We're doing that Saturday, so I won't see any of Dolphins Chiefs. I just feel like Kansas City's going to figure it out. They're going to crack the code. They're too talented. I know they don't have the receiver talent they've had in past years, but you would just think with Mahomes and Kelsey and that defense should be enough. And I feel like the Dolphins have been kind of sluggish down the stretch run here. So I'm going to go to Kansas City, even though I'll never see this game.
And they have Taylor Swift as well. By the way, Bargatze, do you have good seats for this? You have because
I don't know the
Charlotte,
wife.
That's your town, or did you guys buy
the
them?
wife? Yeah, the wife bought the tickets. I don't even know. We're going with some other couples, so I don't know. It's not a big venue. I don't think where he's going.
Oh, okay. It's not like the arena. Okay, I got you. All right.
It's not like a stadium thing, no.
Okay. Steelers Bills Sunday at 1.
Buffalo. I still, and bless his heart, he's right here in Rock Hill. I still don't know how this Mason Rudolph thing's playing out, but they're 3-0. They put him in. I kind of felt like nothing else works. Well, let's give Mason a try. It's been 2 years. Let's see if he's figured anything out. So that's
on
how
level.
they got there. Yeah, and obviously losing Watt is huge for Pittsburgh too. But yeah, Buffalo's again talent-wise overall at home. I think they should actually not have much trouble with Pittsburgh in this one.
Packers-Cowboys will be subject to that in the 4:30 window, of course, because of the names involved. And I'm thinking Dallas at home, no problem.
I do, too. I just feel like Green Bay's defense, the Panthers' one game where we scored points was against Green Bay. So imagine what Dak Prescott at Dallas would do. They might put up 100 points. So, yeah, I'll go with the Cowboys to win that one.
Sunday night Rams-Lions, I think, is going to be fun and interesting.
This is actually my favorite game of the weekend. I mean, just the storylines with the quarterbacks. Matt Stafford having to go back to Detroit, Jared Goff with a giant potato chip on his shoulder for this one. I think it's just it's a fascinating matchup. And the Rams, people wrote them off, and they classic team, no first-round picks. They show you they can be done, draft well, and their roster is loaded with guys they got in later rounds. So I think they could even go in and win that game. But I do think Detroit at home, this is their year to at least win a playoff game. Do something after it's been so long for them. So I got to believe they at least get one playoff win out of this postseason.
Monday night, Eagles-Bucks in Tampa. I'm not putting it past the realm of possibility the Bucks win.
Oh, no, you shouldn't. I think the Eagles are the worst team in these playoffs. This feels like a play-in game, actually. It doesn't even feel like a playoff game. It feels like a play-in game. And it's weird because, like Thanksgiving or whatever, the Eagles looked like the Eagles, but they have just fallen completely off the road here. And Tampa Bay was playing well. I mean, they've won I think 5 of their last 6. So heading into this, I think they can do just enough. Their defense is good. Baker Mayfield, as long as he doesn't make mistakes, keep it. They got talent. We know that. Mike Evans, we saw it. Chris Godwin. I think they played the Panther game low key just to try to know that they didn't have to do much to win the game. But I think when needed, they can come up with the big plays with Evans and Godwin and Rashad White's great running backs. I think I'm going to say the same thing. I think Tampa Bay is going to win that game.
Hey Jim, thanks a lot for the time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Thanks.
There he goes, WBT Hall of Famer, our pal Jim Szoke. Let's go to Philip the Ref Pilkington now, the 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update. And then Demetri Ravanos will join us on the retirement of Nick Saban.
Thanks, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics last night, the men's basketball team defeated Temple 73-62 for the first ever program win at the Owls.
Huge. We just talked about this in the locker room, and it's kind of like levels. Program-wise, first time ever to win in Philadelphia at Temple in the history of ECU basketball.
Unfortunately, the women fell to a B 74-63. That is their first conference loss of the season. 24 seasons and 6 Super Bowl victories for the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. However, those two parties have parted ways earlier today since Tom Brady left the team following the 2019 season. Belichick was just 29-38 with 1 playoff appearance. Marvin Harrison Jr. has declared for the NFL draft he is the top-rated wide receiver prospect. And it was announced today that the Carolina Panthers will have a home game in Munich in 2024. In December of 21, the Panthers were granted marketing rights in Germany. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, Demetri Ravanos on the retirement of Nick Saban.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready.
Okay,
ready?
You ready? Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
Yesterday, we got the news that Nick Saban is calling it a career on the sidelines at Alabama, and this is the prediction made by our great friend Demetri Ravanos. He made that prediction in Barrett Sports Media that Saban is headed for College Game Day. We'll get into all of that, but here he is, don now in his Bama apparel, Demetri Ravanos, a true graduate of the University of Alabama. He didn't play D3 golf and then transfer in his final semester. No, Demetri dyed in the wool, Crimson Tide. Hello, my friend.
For the people watching on video, there is my diploma right there.
I see it. Yep. That's 4 years right there. At least. Well, maybe a little longer.
I was about to say 4.5, but who's counting?
This is the other perspective about Demetri. He is not some Johnny-come-lately while they're winning national titles Alabama fan. Demetri's been a fan since day one.
Yeah.
It was his birthright. And Demetri sat through and suffered through some of the poopiest football. Can I say that? Poopiest football.
Yeah.
That the Crimson Tide program ever had.
An 8-year-old Demetri Ravanos very much understood why people were throwing bricks through Bill Curry's windshield. And a 21-year-old Demetri Ravanos was thinking, man, I wish we had Bill Curry back. Yeah, I missed the Saban era in Tuscaloosa by 4 years.
So if you'd been a doctor, you could have gotten there and been for part of it, or gone back for a degree or something.
That's right. That's right.
But you've been able to enjoy it, I think, more as a fan in a lot of ways.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a complete 180 from when I was in school there, and we had 4 coaches in a 4-year span. I was there for the end of Mike Dubose, I think is 2 of his 4 years, right? So I was there for the end of Mike Dubose, Dennis Franchione, the glorious Mike Price run. And then my last semester in school there was when Mike Shula had become the head coach. So yeah, I mean, I got very used to the phrase, well, Shreveport is lovely at the holidays. I guess the Independence Bowl isn't so bad.
That's the thing I think is most interesting about this. Saban, it wasn't like he came in and was keeping it rolling. He had to get it rolling. And yes, it is Alabama, and yes, there is tradition and pageantry and support, but he had to get it rolling. And the thing I think is most impressive about Nick Saban, in my mind, Demetri, is he is adjusted to the ever-changing face of college football and just rolls with it. Maybe privately he complains about it. Maybe he, throws out little slights about it in the media, but he doesn't. He's not pining for the program's not frozen in amber in any way under Nick Saban.
Yeah, and see, I want to tie those two things together because I think it's really important. The program was frozen in amber when he got there, and Alabama fans know the tip of the spear speech, and it was basically him coming in, getting in front of all of these boosters who were at war with each other over who was going to control the program. And he told them that when you go into battle, you want nothing in front of the tip of the spear. If we are going to get back to where we think this program should be, nobody can control this program but me. He was coming in with national championship and NFL credentials, and people fell in line. With all of the change that we are seeing now in college football, I think he is less bothered by the player empowerment of the transfer portal and more bothered by NIL, because as long as the NCAA wants to keep up this charade that schools cannot pay athletes, the boosters are going to have some level of control of your roster. And I know he hates that. I think that those two things are tied together. That's how the ball got rolling with the Saban dynasty. And I think it played a big role in why it came to an end.
Were you surprised? Well, you weren't surprised because you felt this was going to happen. Does the timing of it maybe surprise you a little bit?
The only thing that surprised me, I was actually talking to a friend from college who had asked me just last week, well, at what point are you willing to say you were wrong and he's not retiring? And I said that I thought we were going to get through signing day before he announced his retirement. But, I wonder if he knew, but watching the title game, he just realized there was no sense in waiting on this. The only thing that surprised me was my reaction, which was going very quickly from disappointed to gratitude. And I think you see that reflected in a lot of people down, in the state or people with Alabama ties.
The lovely and talented Demetri Ravanos, Young Guns podcast, available wherever you download your favorite podcast, plus writer for Barrett Sports Media, and he's written about this extensively as far as Saban going on into a media career. Before we delve into that and we delve into who could replace Nick Saban, we kind of go there now. I think he would have waited till maybe after the second signing day period if there were a logical slam dunk internal candidate. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There really doesn't seem to be right now, does there?
No, and in fact, that's a good point. Like the fact that Kevin Steele retired as the defensive coordinator, who, by the way, was never in line to replace him, but that is a decision now that has to be made that he wasn't going to make. Maybe that sped things up as well. Tommy Rees is 31. Tommy Rees is not a particularly accomplished offensive coordinator. I don't think that there was ever a thought that he was being groomed to be the next head coach. I did think it was possible that if he was going to hire a defensive coordinator, I thought it was very possible that they hired Glenn Schumann from Georgia. He is a Bama alum. He started his career as a GA for Nick Saban. I thought it was very possible that you groom him for a year and make him the next head coach. But look, there are going to be plenty of guys with Alabama ties, with Nick Saban ties specifically, that are mentioned. I don't think anybody really knows who is at the top of the list except for Greg Byrne, the athletic director.
But they said in 72 hours they plan to have somebody.
Yeah, and that has a lot of people connecting the dots that, Kalen DeBoer has had this extension on his desk at Washington for a month that he hasn't signed. And look, DeBoer is an awesome coach. And I think that if he were to bring Ryan Grubb along, his offensive coordinator, that would cure a lot of the decommits that you are inevitably going to see. That being said, DeBoer doesn't have any connection to the South, and that's not a killer, but it is something that you have to consider these days.
I don't think guys from Alabama are going to be decommitting to go to somebody's cruddy 7-5 program.
They're not going to be lining up. Tell that to this kid from Saraland named Ryan Williams, a 5-star receiver that decommitted last night, and now the hot talk is he is headed to Auburn. That is literally decommitting to go to a cruddy 7-5 team.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of, somebody in the CUSA or the American even. But yes, I get what you're saying. Demetri Ravanos is with us here. The list. Look, I was in Clemson a few times this year doing games. Dabo's great with the media. I mean, I know he's great. He was great to me. And
I mean, like, he's been great to me the two times I've talked to him.
Right. I mean, he was awesome to me and talked to me on the sideline like he and I've been covering him for years.
Yeah.
And now I think a lot of it is you and I are not idiots, and we know what to ask and how to ask it. And we're paying attention. But there's discord with Dabo there at Death Valley for some reason, and that would seem like the timing might be good to get out, black eye and all.
Patrick, if they hire,
I know
Dabo
you don't want
Swinney,
it. You don't want
vomit. I will come on this show and make myself vomit. Listen. I'm going to give you my most toxic Bama guy opinion. Okay. His speech to Tyler about gratitude over expectation, was the most loser Auburn bullcrap I have ever heard in my life. How on earth is he going to survive in Tuscaloosa? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I've never been a big Dabo guy as a coach. The insistence that his way is right and the inability to adapt has always bothered me. But that sealed the deal that this dude is just not serious as a head coach. I'm not knocking what he has accomplished. Even if you are the type of person that wants to make the argument that, playing in the ACC benefited him, fine. He does still have 2 national championships. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he can't do that at Alabama. He just can't. Like, he would be laughed out of town.
Kirby Smart.
Oh, Patrick Johnson, be still my beating heart. It's not going to happen. I mean, it would be great. I would love for Greg Byrne to even begin this process by going to Kirby and asking, is there a dollar amount? I don't think he's even going to do that, because I do think it would be a waste of his time. Like, you got to remember, Kirby is from South Georgia. Kirby is a Georgia alum. This has been his dream to build what he's building at Georgia. He doesn't have to go to Alabama. He has Alabama. It just happens to be in Athens, Georgia right now. If there is a former Saban coordinator that I think would be a home run and is attainable, I think it's Steve Sarkisian. Now,
I was about to ask you about him. Yes.
Yeah, I think that he is on the offensive side of the ball what Saban is to defense. Like, he is just as good as the game plan is, the adjustments are even better. But here's the thing. Alabama can go to Steve Sarkisian and say, Steve, just tell us the number, and that is what you will make. And, Texas could come back with a blank check and a space shuttle. Like, it's going to be a bidding war that would be very hard to win, even for Alabama.
Right. Okay. So those three various reasons why not. Who else is? I mean, it can't be a coordinator, Demetri, can it? You can't place a coordinator into that situation.
No, I've thought about that a lot.
Coach Prime. What about Coach Prime?
If Prime would get serious about just being the CEO and letting the coordinators coordinate and not overreact to game-by-game performance, I think he'd be great. I think he'd be great as a recruiter. He doesn't have if you hire Coach Prime tomorrow, the fan base is going to revolt. I think Dan Lanning at Oregon, if Alabama can get past the $20 million buyout, is everything the fans want. I think Kalen
Do you really
DeBoer,
think so?
I do.
I think DeBoer's more impressive than he is.
I think DeBoer is more impressive, but Lanning is 37, former member of Saban's staff, former member of Kirby's staff, has deep SEC ties. Like, I think that matters. And, by the way, has been much more successful on the recruiting trail than DeBoer. I think DeBoer would be awesome. I just don't think it's going to be him. I've heard Marcus Freeman's name at Notre Dame thrown around a lot in the last 24 hours. I don't see it, but it's creative, that's for sure. As much as James Franklin has failed to close the deal at Penn State, I think there are a lot of people that remember what he did at Vanderbilt and very easily could convince themselves with Alabama's resources he could get over that hump. The most interesting name that I heard thrown out with some credibility. Lane's not built for that job. Lane is a lot like Dabo in the sense that he is going to crumble under the pressure. It'd be fun. It'd be fun for 3 years, but it would be right back here. The most interesting name I've heard thrown out with some credibility, and it seems like a long shot, but I can't dismiss it, would be D'Amico Ryans, the head coach of the Houston Texans, former Bama player, right? But I think that the reason I think it is such a long shot is he does not have college aspirations. Even to go back to his alma mater, he grew up just a few miles away in Meridian, Mississippi. So it would be going home. His entire coaching career has been in the NFL. There's a very good chance he's going to win Coach of the Year this year. He is already back home in a sense with the team that drafted him. It's a cool idea. I don't see it happening now.
Well, he's got a great quarterback. I mean, they're set up for success in Houston for a while now. So,
and honestly, that's why I think he could be successful at Alabama, never having had college experience. Because think about that quarterback. What did he do? He figured out what that guy did best and let his offensive coordinator design an offense around it, rather than insisting that this is the way we are going to play offense. He's adaptable. Like I said, I think it's an awesome idea. Obviously, it would be the first black head coach in Alabama history, and also a former player with a lot of belts on the wall. Like, I think that would excite people, but it's not going to happen.
Demetri Ravanos. All right, D, when you look at Nick Saban's future, what is it?
I really do think he's headed to College Game Day. It is a discussion that he had over 10 years ago with ESPN. And by the way, both sides walked away knowing that it was not going to happen right away. But he did have a meeting with ESPN in 2013 and zeroed in on the idea that College Game Day would be a great fit for him when his coaching days are over. Look, game day's at a crossroads right now. For people that don't follow the industry, Lee Fitting, who was the creative genius behind that, this past season was the first without him, and the show felt
it was a tough watch.
Wayward. I obviously ESPN and Pat McAfee have some issues right now. I think that McAfee will be back though. Lee Corso, I think, has earned the right to leave when he wants to, but that doesn't mean you have to have 3 hours of Lee Corso on TV. Nick Saban just bought a $17 million mansion in the West Palm Beach area, St. Jupiter Island, that happens to be pretty close to the West Palm Beach airport that has a lot of direct flights. I don't think that's a mistake.
Yeah. Okay. He'd be great on there. Anytime he's been on
always
TV,
been great
he's been fantastic. Yeah.
I heard Reese Davis was on with Paul Feinbaum yesterday and said that there have only been 2 years that Alabama was not playing in the national championship game, that he was not part of game day. And that is not a coincidence.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what is the legacy? I mean, it's obvious.
Positive, yes.
In many ways. But, when you go drill down on what he did there, turning around the program and attaining national champ, what is the legacy all told? Yeah, both on that local Alabama level, but then in the game, in your opinion?
I think on the local Alabama level, this was a dude that transcended everything. Race, politics, you name it. Like Nick Saban was a guy, he made you feel one way or the other, but everybody respected him, and everybody saw Alabama for what it could be, not what it was. Nick Saban proved that Bear Bryant was not it wasn't a Bobby Bowden at Florida State situation where this is about the dude, not the program. A lot of guys have won championships at Alabama, but outside of Bear and Wallace Wade, it had been guys with one championship, right? And Nick Saban showed that the resources are here. The passion is here. This program is serious. They just need the idiots to get out of their own way. I grew up down in Mobile, and my dad had a really nice restaurant, and it was a place where a lot of the Alabama boosters from that part of the state would come in to eat and show off how wealthy they were, right? And my dad would always take care of them in exchange for tickets, or at least would do that about once a year.
Right.
And so one year, I'm introduced to one of these guys as, my son's a student at the University of Alabama. And this happened to be when, this happened to be a time when Alabama was going through a coaching search. And, this person and I were engaging, just talking about the candidates and everything. And this guy said to me, and you may have to know a little bit about Alabama to understand this, that, it's going to be a matter of who gets to make this decision, Mobile or Birmingham, meaning, which faction of boosters. And what you have to understand about both is there's money in both. In Birmingham, it's a lot of medical field money.
Right.
In Mobile, it's a lot of inherited money, mainly from the timber industry, right? And this guy said to me, it's going to come down to who gets to make this decision, Mobile or Birmingham. And he looks around as if he's about to say the most racist thing in the world, and instead says, Dr. Money ain't timber money. And that was the booster core in a nutshell before Nick Saban got there.
That's pretty good. What a line. Dr. Money ain't timber money. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Great
That's the
stuff,
kind of insight
Demetri.
I bring to this show.
It is. Well, and I knew we had to get you on as soon as this was announced yesterday. Hey, appreciate it very much. And we'll look forward to seeing who the new coach, depending on who they hire. We may get you back on for a little reflux.
Yeah.
In more ways than one, depending on who they hire.
Very good point. There have been 2 people in my lifetime at Alabama that have made me feel the kind of joy that I have in the last 17 years. One of them, obviously, is Nick Saban. The other is Sean Alexander, who senior season was my freshman year there. I'm happy for Nick. I'm sad as a fan. I really am. Like it's the end of something really special beyond just the championships.
Hey, Demetri, thanks a lot.
Hey, Patrick Johnson, thank you a lot.
There he goes, Demetri Ravanos. Good stuff. Great show today. Enjoyed Szoke being on. He was fantastic. Demetri, of course, is always great. Philip, good show, buddy. What do you think?
I think it was fun. I wish we had a little more time with Szoke. I was going to ask him about going to Germany this year. Didn't get to talk to him about that. Maybe we'll have him on next week.
Yeah, I think we'll get Szoke on next week. Makes sense. And he's good, so we'll get him on next week. How about that? All right, back tomorrow, 10 o'clock, special time. Ryan Mull will be with us. We're working on some other guests, but we'll talk college basketball and preview the ECU-SWU game tomorrow. We've got a book today. Christy Overton Johnson is going to be with us in the studio on Monday. All right, see you in the morning on Talk of the Town, 7 a.m., and back here 2 o'clock video, 5 o'clock radio side for the Patrick Johnson Show to get you to the weekend edition.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone.